How you doing, YouTube? Dragon Mark here, coming at you with another video. I'm gonna do this a little differently now. As you can see, I'm not wearing a mask because I can't find it anywhere, so I had to improvise. So I'm using this little blur thing I found on my program here. I'm not gonna name any names because for copyright infringement or whatever. I doubt people give a damn, but just to be safe, huh? But I hope this doesn't distract or anger anyone. Anyways, this video is about cards that have been unlimited that I think should be either limited or banned altogether. Now, these choices are before the Secret Forces set was released and does not include Yosinjo's Ritual Beast or the Necklace. Or Necross, what people like to say. I personally like the Necklace better. But it's still a little too early to judge those archetypes, and they haven't been around for a full format, so there you go. I'm not gonna be too harsh. I mean, I am fair. Now, I know some people will think I'm crazy for these choices, but keep in mind that this is not a banlist prediction video. This is just my personal opinion, and it should be taken with a grain of salt. Whatever that means. Alright, with that said, let's get started. At number 10, we have Lumina, the Lightsworn Summoner. Now, Lightsworns have been a bane in my side for a very long time. Nothing against the deck, but the insane speed that it can mill its cards into the graveyard just right for this card to summon anything back with no cost or side effect is just ridiculous in my opinion. Not to mention that some of those monsters are splashable in like Shaddolls, or I think Infernoids use them to some extent as well. But yeah, given the fact that Lumina in the graveyard, special summon another Lumina, Lumina special summons another Lumina, you got 3 Luminas on the field, and now the last Lumina special summons something else. It's just crazy in my opinion. But yeah. At number 9, we have Constellar Pallades. Now, I have a friend who just loves this deck, and seeing Pallades hit the field and remove a card I worked so hard to get out and get rid of it so easily is so heart-wrenching. The fact that this effect can be used during either player's turn is also annoying. Now, seeing this card go to 1, I don't think will hurt the Constellars that much. Well, considering that aren't any Constellar players left out there. This card is just insane in my opinion, with a very good effect that just removes a card on the field, and you can even bounce a card from the controller's field back to the hand, and they have one Beast Warrior with Tanky stays on the field. It bounces Tanky back, and they activate Tanky again to get that other Beast Warrior monster, Constellar monster it is. I don't know what it is. At number 8, we have Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss. Now, this card I think should have been higher up on this list, but I had to space them out a little bit. There's a method to my madness. Don't question it. Now, this card is so stupid in my opinion. The fact that you send 2 Burning Abyss cards to the graveyard to destroy 3 cards your opponent controls is just ridiculous. Not to mention that the 2 cards you send to the graveyard are Burning Abyss cards. They will get their effects at it's just the icing on the cake of insanity. If it weren't for the new meta that is taking over, I see this card banned altogether, if that. Alright, at number 7, we have a card that has been at 3 longer than I have been in the game, that should have been at 1, probably the format it was first released. This card is just insane, and even though there are ways to deal with it, it still warrants a spot on the limited list, and that card is none other than Judgment Dragon. Now, I know I already hit Lightsworns on this list, but this card itself is so insanely powerful and easy to summon. I'm sure there are a lot of people that have stared down 3 of these bad boys at one point or another. Don't lie, you know you have. At number 6, we have Evil Swarm Ophion. Now, Evil Swarms is one of my favorite decks, and to have its main boss monster go to 1 would hurt the deck, but it is one of the few very powerful, very easy to summon floodgate cards out there. Now, I know there are skeptics out there that say this deck takes no skill to play, and they may be right, but nonetheless, Ophion locks out a lot of people from making any play since they can search out its own protection spell in Infestation Pandemic. But yeah, Evil Swarm Ophion at number 6. Alright, we have reached the halfway point, so now we're getting into the more popular decks out there. At number 5, we have Hysteric Party. Now, I know Harpies are not all that relevant right now, but the fact that this deck just goes all out with Harpy's Hunting Ground, try saying that 3 times fast, making play after play, and this card in the end just says, for your overexertion, you get 3 free cards from your deck to your hand. Now, this is like Gear, only instead of summoning 2, you get 3 to your hand. And we all know what happened to Gear, right? Anyways. At number 4, we have Shaddoll Fusion. Yes, we have reached the meta. This card is every Fusion player's dream. To be able to summon cards like El Shaddoll, Winda, and Construct with cards from your deck is insane. Not to mention, since the monster is sent to the graveyard, get their effects because, you know, they were sent there by Shaddoll Fusion, a card effect. Now, granted, your opponent has to have a monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck. In this day and age, where everyone summons from the extra deck, that is never going to be a problem for Shaddolls. I'm not even going to get into El Shaddoll Fusion, a quick play spell card in its own right, but yeah, there you have it. At number 3, we have Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. Now, personally, I would have hit a smaller monster from the Burning Abyss archetype, but when you think about it, Dante gets the ball rolling for this deck. I know. I already hit Fire Lake, but it's Dante, come on. Going to 1, I don't think would hurt the deck, but it would force players to be more careful how and when they summon this guy. And even if they did, like, run 3 XZ Reborns, there you go. I'm not even going to get into more detail than that. Next! At number 2, we have Clifford Scout. Now, Cliffworts have had a format or 2 at full power, and I believe it's time to cut these guys down to size. Granted, there are more menacing monsters in this archetype to be aware of. This guy is what keeps the ball rolling for Cliffworts. I mean, at 1, I think it won't hurt it at all because there are still ways to search this card out. I doubt people will stop playing this deck if Scout went to 1, but come on. Before we get to the number 1 card that should be limited, here are a few honorable mentions. At number 1, we have, surprise, surprise, Vanity's Emptiness. The card, if not the card, to define Floodgate. This is a card that just gives the big middle finger to all of us out there in budget land. Now, for so long, this card made me pull my hair out in frustration, figuratively speaking. Just recently, since Secret Forces was released, Yosinjus have abused this card since they normal summon each other over and over and over again, and at the end phase they return to the hand, so technically speaking, Vanity's Emptiness never leaves the field. Not to mention Cliffworts. Now, Cliffworts, they don't need to special summon themselves, and if when they're destroyed, they go to the extra deck and not the graveyard. So yeah, this card says to your opponent, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's all me. I win. Scoop them up. Well, there you have it, YouTube. My top 10 cards that are currently at 3 that should be at 1. Let me know what your thoughts on this list. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Let me know what you guys think I should do, and let's keep it PG-13 up in here. Cool? This is Dragon Mark signing out. Peace. This video is about cards that I believe that have been. Now, these choices are before the secret. But now, I know some people will think I'm crazy for these choices. But keep in mind that this is not my banlist predictions. This is just my personal opinion and should be taken with a grain of salt.